Welcome back to another episode of ROC Boys Football, continuing to take a look at some of these college football bowls as we take a look at the Texas Bowl between the Texas Tech Red Raiders and the Ole Miss Rebels. Two of my favorite programs of the 2022 season. I love what Coach McGuire has done with this Texas Tech team, and I like what Lane Kiffin's doing down in Oxford, Mississippi as well. And I think both of these teams, I think it's important to have a good showing in this bowl game. I'm not a guy that necessarily puts a ton of stock in bowl games, especially when you see all these opt outs. But both of these teams are trending upwards. And when you look at momentum heading into 2023, I think it's really important for both teams. Excited to get into this one. Before we do, though, just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support you guys have shown the channel. Again, we really enjoyed talking ball with you guys in the comment section. And if you guys do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We really do appreciate that. That is the best way you can support the boys. Let's get into this bowl game. I want to start with how both of these offenses match up very, very well against these defenses. Texas Tech on offense, they throw the ball very well. Tyler Shuck probably going to be starting this bowl game. Donovan Smith transferring to Houston. Tyler Shuck's been the best quarterback for Texas Tech from what I have seen. Texas Tech fans, you might have a comment on that. Let me know in the comment section. I've been trying to keep track of all three of the quarterbacks I'm playing, but it seems like when Tyler Shuck is playing for Texas Tech, that's when they're consistently winning football games. He's supposed to play this game. I'm excited to see him kind of healthy for one of the first times all season. And this Ole Miss defense, I mean, they really struggle against the pass. You look at what they've done, giving up 64% completion percentage to opposing quarterbacks. Texas Tech likes to sling the ball around with Zach Kittley as their offensive coordinator. It's not necessarily they have dominant wide receivers. I think Zach Kittley's done a phenomenal job scheming up this offense, giving easy throws, hitting some explosive plays when they're there. And I think that was one of the more important and most beneficial hires that we saw in the 2022 season in terms of coordinators. On the flip side, Texas Tech has really struggled against the run, and Ole Miss is going to be a team that wants to pound the rock. I mean, Quinshawn Judkins for Ole Miss has been just an absolute surprise. I think a lot of people, including myself, going into this team, I think in the season, we knew that Ole Miss was going to run the football a little bit more than they did last year. They had a very good offensive line. They had a stable of backs. I thought it would be Zach Evans. I think a lot of people thought it'd be Zach Evans, a former five-star transferring over from TCU. Quinshawn Judkins, I think, is an early 2023 Heisman guy, in my opinion. What he did as a true freshman, I love watching him run the football. He gets downhill fast. He has breakaway speed, and he breaks tackles. And he runs the rock extremely hard for an 18-year-old kid. Very excited to see how he progresses. And you look at this Texas Tech defense and what they've done against the run, they're allowing almost 4.5 yards per carry to opposing running backs. And so this is a team that Ole Miss is going to want to run the football. Texas Tech's not good at stopping the run. Texas Tech's want to throw the football, and Ole Miss hasn't been great in the secondary. I think both offenses match up really well against these defenses. Both these offenses average well over 80 plays per game. You're going to see a lot of plays. They both play with a lot of pace. I know the over-under at 70 is high. I think this could go over because I think there's going to be a lot of points, especially with how the defenses match up against the offenses. Texas Tech, you obviously have Pearson in the secondary transferring, Tyree Wilson opting out to go to the NFL draft. I think Ole Miss will be able to move the ball, even though it's going to be on the ground. I think they're going to have some success. And Texas Tech, I think they're going to be able to move the ball very well against this Ole Miss secondary. Now, getting to each particular team, who I think might win this game, and what I kind of want to see heading into 2023, Ole Miss, I would like to see Jackson Dart get a little bit more comfortable from the pocket. They relied a lot on the run game and didn't really ask him to do much. He ends up throwing for 2,600 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. Next year, if Ole Miss wants to really make some noise in the SEC, I think you're going to need a little bit more from Jackson Dart. Throws a really good deep ball, but in terms of consistency, I don't think it was all there. I think Ole Miss was a little bit one-dimensional at times with the run game. I don't know if it was just because the run game was so good or Lane Kiffin didn't really believe in Jackson Dart, but Jackson Dart didn't play great and consistent throughout the year. And so you kind of want to see him end this season on a high note. I think you want to see some wide receivers emerge. I think one of their bigger problems is outside of Mingo, there wasn't really a guy, Malik Heath maybe from Mississippi State. Outside of those two guys, they didn't really have a guy emerge. I want to see a guy like maybe Michael Trigg get going. He was another guy, him and Jackson Dart. coming over together from USC. Was really excited to see what those guys brought to the table. You want to see some of that chemistry getting built as Jackson Dart goes into his third year in college, his second year in the Ole Miss program. Texas Tech, on the other hand, I wasn't I wasn't a fan of rotating that quarterback, the quarterback situation in general. I always yeah, it's a good problem to have three capable quarterbacks. I think it's really important to find one, let him take over and be the leader in the huddle, be the leader on the offense. I think that was kind of a mismanagement by Coach McGuire, and I get there were some injuries that were concerning, but it never really seemed like there was a guy that quarterback position. And when you're running a Texas Tech offense where it has to do so much with rhythm, running pace, I think having a quarterback emerge as the dude you trust is big. And so if you see Tyler Shuck have a really, really good game against an SEC defense that's been pretty good. I mean, you look at Ole Miss, I get they struggled down the stretch. They've been pretty good on defense, only allowing 24 points per game. I think both these programs want wins heading into 2023. Ole Miss, they lost 4 of their last 5. Texas Tech has been kind of hot towards the end of the season. You want to kind of keep that momentum heading into 2023. I think this is a big game for both teams. If I had to lean, I think I'm going with Ole Miss just because of their ability to run the football effectively, keep that Texas Tech defense or offense off the field. So I'm probably leaning Ole Miss, but I think this game kind of comes down to whoever has the ball last, whoever has the last chance to go ahead and score the football with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. That's kind of where it seems like it's going. If I do like a pick and I know it's high, I do like the over a little bit just because I love how both offenses match up against their opposing defenses. I mean, their strengths are the defense's weakness. You have some opt-outs for Texas Tech on the defensive side of the ball that hurt bad. Tyree Wilson, one of the best edge defenders in the whole entire country, has been great against the run. He's been great. I think he registered 30 hurries on the year. He's not going to be playing. I think Ole Miss will be able to move the football. Texas Tech with that Zach Kittley, and I personally think their best quarterback playing. I think he'll be able to move the football. So my best pick, probably the over 70. That being said, I probably am leaning Ole Miss, even with the 3. I would like it more if it was just 3, not with the hook, because I do think this will be a close game. I'm a very big fan of what Coach McGuire is bringing to the table. It's going to be a good game, and I'm going to be watching it just because there's going to be a lot of points. Lean to the over 70, maybe Ole Miss minus 3.5. But again, this was one of those where you just want to kick it on the couch, watch some really good offenses, move the football. If you like points, you better be checking out the Texas Bowl again. If you guys enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. We appreciate all the support you guys have shown, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.